it's tough with the Lukaku situation because when I look at the match today, I'm like, yeah, was it the right thing to leave him out? Of course it is. The locker room was first.
Well, let's go there, Heath. Talk to me about this Lukaku situation. What do you make of it, seriously? Because honestly, like, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate, okay, for a second. I agree. I think Thomas Tuchel did the right thing in a way. He's trying to set a precedent, et cetera, et cetera. But let me just completely play the devil's advocate here. Both of you jump. Heath, you first. Is it really what he said that awful? He said he wants to get some more playing time. He's not getting his minutes. He feels that he might need to fight for a spot. Is it that atrocious? I mean, it wasn't so long ago that a certain Harry Kane literally said essentially the same thing. Not only that, he said he wanted to leave the club, and everybody's commended him for being so heroic about it. Heath, what do you think about the Lukaku situation?
Yeah, I think, again, there's the timing and the noise of it, which I think was created by the media, which led to there being a little bit of a forest fire. And the best thing to do is just put it out. And I think that was the right thing to do in this situation. They're obviously set to have a meeting, which was put out by Tim Howard on a conversation with Lukaku saying we could speak after the meeting about the future of things. Thomas Tuchel was very open about it, where this isn't the first time that he's experienced that. He doesn't take it personal. He doesn't see this as an attack on him. And so I think it was just one of these moments where you needed to take a stand to say, hey, this is about the team. We have an upcoming match. We put this off to the side and we can bring this up again the next day. Now, when I look at the second half of the match and I think about what Lukaku could do in a match like that against Liverpool, knowing how he can occupy space far better than I think Kai Havertz could or any of that movement in and around the box, that's what I would love to see him thrive off the bench. Of saying, hey, we're going to bench him. Let's see how he responds to this. But ultimately chose to just put it to the side, knowing that this is a busy time of year. I respect the way in which he's handling it. It'll be interesting to see how this meeting goes, because it almost feels like perhaps there's a little bit of a request for an exit or a talk about the future, which seems insane to me.
Yeah, strategic, maybe a strategic interview. Yeah.
Yeah. If that is actually the case, that they're talking about the future, his future with the club beyond Monday. But in the short term, it seemed like the right thing to do for Tuchel to eliminate that distraction, and we'll see how it's responding from there.
Yeah, Tuchel came out and said that he talked to 5 or 6 or 7 of the main players within the team. So you look at the Azpilicuetas, you look at the Rudigers, you look at the older guys, right? The guys that have been around. Thiago Silva's seen some things, have dealt with some pretty big personalities, I'm sure, at some point in their careers. Maybe Zlatans of the world, Thiago Silva in particular. So. And then you work with Lukaku, you understand, okay, what do we want out of this situation? If we do bench him, he's just going to he'd be sitting there. And if he's in the 18, he's going to get heckled by the fans. It's just going to be, that's probably not what's best for Romelu Lukaku. It's better to keep him and protect him. Now, also in Tuchel's quotes, he said that he's trying to protect the player. He just wants to understand more about where it was coming from. He wants to, why he did it, because they didn't approve the interview. Chelsea didn't know he was doing that interview. And so there are all these little things that are piling up that I just think maybe, and to Tuchel's point, I love, as he said, he doesn't take it personal. He just, something came up and Romelu said something at a time that showed some vulnerability, that he's upset that he's not necessarily being the guy or not getting partnered with in a way that he was at Inter. And it's just not working out. If he's not scoring goals, going through a bad run, as every striker does, then of course your frustrations are going to come out in different ways, where maybe things felt a little bit easier at Inter or that they were set up, or maybe Antonio Conte was babying him in a way that Tuchel's not, right? And there's a lot of that happens. Heath and I both know that, under Bruce Arena, that you got handled by him in some ways. Then Bob Bradley came in and he's completely different in terms of how he handles different personalities. And so Tuchel looks like a pretty tough bastard who doesn't put up with a lot. Antonio Conte feels the same, at least on the outside, but I bet he's a softie inside. So it's hard to know. And I think they handled this perfectly. I wonder, though, because that second goal that Chelsea scored, that Pulisic scored, he comes out of that false nine area. And I actually feel like if Lukaku had been there and had been, he'd just be sitting between the two center backs, Van Dijk and just Konate, like right there. Would that same run have been open? I don't know, because I feel like if you do play at the false nine, there's a lot of communication that has to happen between the center backs as to who has who and when. And I'm just throwing that out there. Obviously, it was a great sequence from Chelsea in a lot of different ways. But I wonder, I don't know. I just saw somebody put it out there on the internet about would Chelsea have won this with Lukaku in the team? And
I mean, it's tough because
the game is fluid. You can't.
I know. I'm just saying. I pondered it.
The reason it's a little difficult too is because Konate did show a little vulnerability, and if Lukaku had been right up against him, he would have given him an absolute nightmare. So you can't really say one or the other. But by the way, here's your call to action. Did Thomas Tuchel make the right call? Why for yes and for no? Hey, by the way, do you think that when Tim Howard and Romelu were like texting, Romelu just literally sent 2 emojis, like the nervous emoji face, like he could, and Tim was just like, "Look, this is basically what he told me on Monday. It's going to happen," but it will be interesting to see. I would love to see that text.
It's a sweating emoji. He's like, yeah, he told me he's nervous.